Well, welcome out there once again to my program. Always a pleasure to be here putting on this show. This is the panel show, and I want to thank everyone out there for watching. I want to wish you a Happy New Year, and of course, I hope you had a nice Christmas. And the panel show has been reconstituted a number of months ago, you might say, by Dan Robillard, one of my panelists. He decided that it was time to bring back the panel show. Panel show is an interesting program. You've been watching, you get to learn a lot of the issues, or at least the discussion of the issue, different points, different aspects of what's going on in Fall River, the state, and sometimes we bring in international news. So, welcome Paul Schmidt, once again, Representative Paul Schmidt from Westport and part of Fall River. You've been on the show when we started long ago. Paul, how's things going?
Well, first of all, Richard, I have to say Happy New Year. And thank you very much for having me on the show. It's a great honor to be in this lineup.
You're in a ring with a lot of...
I'm on a chair, and I looked on the back of the chair, and it does say hot seat. But CJ says he hasn't plugged it in, so.
We got CJ, you know, CJ's been a regular ever since the panel show started. How many years ago?
Oh, too many years ago. And, you know, it's always a pleasure to be here. Happy New Year to all our viewers. You've been on for a couple of weeks. We've missed you.
Yeah.
But yes, Representative Schmidt, I did not plug the chair in tonight, so you don't have to worry about it.
So I get a free pass.
You get a free pass this week. The Holy Trinity isn't going to get you.
Bob, how you doing?
Very good, Richard,
year.
thank you, and Happy New Year to everybody out there.
We got any issues we're going to talk about tonight?
Oh, we've got many issues. This is Fall River.
Dan Robillard, how you doing, Dan?
Happy New Year, Richard. Happy New Year to the viewers. Let's get on.
Okay, let's go.
Ready to start the ball rolling.
Let's start off with, well, a lot of surprising events the last few weeks or so, but Kathy Amber-Veris runs for city council, and she gets a lot of support, a lot of, you know, help, comes in number one, and lo and behold, before you know it, she's not going to take the seat on the city council because of Sean Kadim, who's left the position as city administrator. I guess there was a little discussion with the mayor, between him and the mayor, and something didn't quite work out. So Sean Kadim left, and well, Kathy Amber-Veris is now the city administrator. Bob, what do you make of that?
Well, it's pretty clear to most people. Obviously, she's looking at the money. You know, the old adage, follow the money. She's looking to boost up her pension, and rather than the rather small pension.
When you say pension, you mean something city work?
Yeah, she's going to be vested in a not too distant future. She's been there for a while, so she will be vested and she'll be able to get a pension. And obviously, a pension based on $110,000 will be much better than a city council salary. And you know, as far as I'm concerned, that's a betrayal to the people who put her in. I consider city council as more of almost a volunteer thing. People who want to be community activists, help contribute to the community. You don't do that as a job. So when you run for that, you kind of like the old Minutemen, where you laid down your plow and picked up the rifle. And I think that she chose the bank over the rifle.
Well, let me ask you this question, and this has nothing to do with her. This is just put this out as a somewhat of a hypothetical. Candidate runs for office, amasses a nice campaign chest, tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands, decides not to take the seat. What happens to that money? Do you think, Paul, do you think contributors are entitled to a refund? Someone gives a person $200, they expect them to actually take the seat. They don't. You think they should get their money back?
Well, you know, Richard, I look at the wonderful people who contribute to me, and I think they are depending on me to use that money in the best way for my district. And if and when I retire, and I say if because I love my job, but sure, someday I will retire, and hopefully I still have a few dollars in my campaign account. And I think they expect me to use that money to the best way I can for my community. So,
CJ, candidate doesn't take the seat. People entitled to a refund?
Well, you know, people can ask for a refund, doesn't mean they're going to get it. But the campaign and finance laws specifically state that those campaign funds can stay in that account for as long as they want to keep that account open. So if I run for city council today and I amass $100,000 in that account and I don't run for 10 years,
That's wishful
as long as I do the necessary reporting, that account can stay open. But once I dissolve my campaign, that money can only go to one of three places: any nonprofit, any religious, or the state. So
right.
that's where the money has to go.
So that answers that question.
So, I mean, you have some people, such as Ed Lambert, which still have campaign accounts out there with thousands and thousands of dollars in there. And they stay there for the longest time because they can still make contributions to other candidates up to the maximum limit of $100.
Dan, big surprise, Kathy Ann Viveris is taking that job?
Well, Richard, it's very simple. She's either in it for the money and took the job for the money and the pension and maybe cutting some kind of a deal with Mayor Flanagan, or her last two runs for mayor were a simple fraud. Let the public decide, because nobody changes overnight. I don't care what anybody says. So it was either a financial gain or her prior two campaigns for mayor, where she openly campaigned against the mayor very hard, were a simple fraud. Let the voters and the public decide.
I believe that Kathy Ann Viveris turned around and told her supporters and told those people that voted her and put her in first place on that ballot, the hell with you, I don't care, the $110,000 speaks, and that's the way it is.
Oh, well-
She is going to serve the mayor as she is required to as the city administrator and do his bidding. And the mayor has set this up where he has control now of the city administrator, control of the city council, and control of the school committee. So the mayor is now a true dictator in all respects, and he will now have complete control over city government.
Bob,
She gave the voters the middle finger, in my opinion.
Bob?
Yeah, she did.
Well,
The,
I think it's.
Well, let's move it on.
Well, I just wanted to make one quick
yeah,
comment.
sure.
I think it's even a more, there's more to this than that. The fact is, I think she was elected, and she came in first for the city council because they felt that she would be part of the checks and balances against the mayor because of her previous two
And
campaigns.
she might run for mayor?
And, you know, I don't know if they even thought if she's going to run for mayor. I know a lot of people who supported her to say, look, we don't need everybody marching in lockstep with the mayor, which we have now, because the last time many people marched in lockstep, it ended up a goose step. And we don't want that. You can't always agree. That's what this government is based on.
Okay, let's just move that a little more along the line of the city councilors. The city council was sworn in, and city council has got three new members. But the city council votes for who it wants to be the president of the council. And the president of the council is in a very unique position, not only because of conducting and maintaining decorum at the city council meetings, but if the mayor were to leave abruptly, the city council president moves up to the 6th floor, the mayor's job. Linda Pereira, city councilor president for a number of years, and lo and behold, she lost that position, and it went to Joe Camara. Paul, did you follow that episode at all
I was there
for the inauguration?
for the inauguration and heard the ballots being recorded. I'm not close enough to the particular politics. You may hear an insight from one of your other panelists tonight.
I'm sure.
They occasionally have views about what's going on
No!
in city politics. But let me just say, back on the subject of Kathy Ann Viveros, that a good city administrator can do a lot of good for the city. Sean Kadim did some wonderful things in terms of bringing our books up to date, getting us back on a good firm basis with the rating agencies. And I look forward to seeing what Kathy Ann can do in her term. Let's give her the benefit of the doubt. She came by my office in Government Center today, said hello. I think she's going to do a great job.
We got a new president of the council. A lot of people felt it was a big surprise. Joe Camara taking the presidency away from Linda Pereira. CJ, you got something?
The first of the unholy trinity, huh? Well, I'll tell you.
These guys are tough, Paul.
This is a hand-picked president. And, you know, we discussed this several times before this show and in
Well,
numerous
CJ,
meetings.
they're all hand-picked, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, well, this
they
one-
get voted on by
Well,
their,
this one was
by their colleagues.
This was handpicked by the sixth floor. When meetings are held in a Providence restaurant with city councilor-elects and the now sitting city council president on who's going to be city council president, and we know already by how the candidates acted during their campaigns, such as Paul De Silva and Jaziel Correa, and how their votes were going to be. And we had said that those votes were going to go for Joe Camara. It made no surprise to the way this vote came out. This was handpicked.
No surprise.
There
Bob,
was no
no
surprise to me
surprise?
at all.
No, we knew this was coming. Obviously, this is,
But
they
to
weren't.
the general public, you
Well,
think?
I guess the general public, they don't keep their finger on the pulse as we do. But we knew, number one, Jaziel Correa had over-contributed to the mayor's campaign. He had to give money back. Secondly, he was a spokesman on the night of the election. So obviously, we know how his vote's going to go. Paul De Silva was in his camp. We knew the handwriting was on the wall. They had meetings in Providence. And the problem here is, that I have, is that government, we have government with checks and balances. That's why we have a tripartite system and the federal government. We're supposed to have checks and balances here, and we don't. It seems as though, for the first time in my recollection, I have never seen a mayor, and I've been in politics in the city for a very long time, as you know. I have never seen a mayor so overtly get involved in the selection of the president of the city council. I have to question why.
Dan, a surprise, or do you think this thing was, I mean, I think you mentioned that,
Well,
that Linda Pereira would probably get back in.
well, at that time, those were my thoughts until immediately within a day after the last show, it became clear that there were shenanigans going on. First of all, Paul De Silva had committed to Linda in the press and then backed away. That was the first raising of the red flag. And Jaziel Correa, first time in history I've ever seen a city council candidate be a spokesman for another candidate. So,
In which way?
well, he was a spokesman for the mayoral campaign, had volunteered at his office during the campaign.
Oh, I see.
Made
Okay.
statements on election night on behalf of the campaign while running his own campaign. So we know which way the novice rookie is going. And it's my belief that as I look at this council as a collective body, that this mayor will have 5 to 6 votes on most issues to pass his agenda.
Well, moving along, City Council, it's a lot of things have happened in the last few weeks since we had the last panel show. So that's why we're kind of on the council. But that aside, let's get into the other major issues in regards to the. Well, let's leave the council alone for a moment. And
Oh,
let's,
no.
Let's get into the law. Let's go up to the law office.
Oh, okay, we'll go there.
What's going on with this?
You mean
The,
the good wife?
You had this
School of Crayola law.
so-called, well, you had this lawsuit, and it involved $1.6 million. And Fall River and Somerset were obligated to submit some proposals in regards to what they could use the money for in regards to energy needs in either the town or the city. And the court that heard the case then issued a 120-day period in which these proposals could be submitted to this entity called Dominion. Now, what's happened factually is that the city of Fall River did not submit anything to Dominion. The city of Fall River at this point will not get won't get a nickel of the $1.6 million. The $1.6 million apparently will all of it will go to Somerset. And the reason for that is, gentlemen, as you've discussed before, is that Fall River did not meet the 120-day deadline to submit a proposal. And so Dominion said, you missed the deadline, and they're going to give all the money to Somerset. Bob, how does something like that, you've been following the city council, et cetera, for a long time. How does a law office have 120 days and doesn't know that the deadline is passed?
Well, I think that the viewers out there should really watch the tape of that city council meeting.
The last one.
The last one, and they will be amazed, because as far as I'm concerned, I've dealt with lawyers many, many times, and I had to sign an affidavit to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And when we have a law department...
How are we going to make money?
When we have a law department that's looking for almost $1 million and gets absolutely nothing in writing, and then attempts to blame everybody for their malfeasance.
Well, this guy Schmidt was taking a beating, and no one knows who he is or where he is.
Well, number one, he doesn't even work for the company anymore. He hadn't worked in 2 months, and then they try to say they've been in communication with this individual. Well, if the individual doesn't work there anymore, how much communication have you really had? Because I think if you called him up, the guy might tell you, hey, buddy, I don't work there anymore.
Well, they apparently what was represented by the law office is that they had a verbal agreement. How good are verbal agreements? And I know you're not a lawyer, CJ, but if someone owed you, a number of thousands of dollars and they told you the check was in the mail, I mean, would you want a little follow-up?
Yeah, I would be following up regularly. But you have to remember, the law office in this case gave us how many excuses? I mean, I love the first one. I was on vacation. Remember that one? I was on vacation. How many times has Fall River heard I was on vacation? I believe Terry Sullivan said that once when it came to the CSO project. I was on vacation. It seems that every time we lose money, somebody's on vacation. We don't hold them responsible.
120 days.
120 days, though. And they said they couldn't find the decision. I was sitting in the audience. I took out my smartphone. I went beep, 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 boop, and I went like this. I had the decision on my smartphone in a couple of seconds. I showed it to him. We started laughing. It had all the dates on it, everything. And the office said, we can't find the decision. They have a desktop. They couldn't sit there and go into the same federal courthouse and bring the decision up?
Paul,
that doesn't hold any...
It was mentioned at that meeting.
Well, I know there's a lot of he said, she said going on, and I'm still very hopeful that Fall River gets its money. I don't think this is over by any means.
We're going to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars in a lawsuit to stop the award for the court to turn around and say, you missed the deadline. You missed the deadline. Because in the order it said specifically, and the law office can't say it doesn't say that any changes in this order must be submitted to the court in writing for approval. It was never submitted. Therefore, I can say all I want about changing the deadline in that order. Unless I submit it to the court in writing and they approve it, it's moot. It doesn't exist. So the he said, she said is fine. But when the order reads specifically what you have to do, you're a lawyer. You should know this. I mean, if my lawyer didn't read that, and my lawyer said, oh, no, we had a verbal agreement, and did that, that's legal malpractice. But you can't sue Liz because she works for the city.
The only written evidence that was presented, and it wasn't he said, she said, was a letter from Dominion, which stated very clearly that they made numerous attempts to contact the city of Fall River to no avail. So, the fact is, they put it in writing, and they put it in writing that they made attempts. If they go to court, they're going to be laughed out of the courtroom.
Dan,
Hey, Richard.
You think it's all over?
By the time it gets to me down here, all the best things have been said. But I'll say,
Just push them aside next time.
but I'll say
Right
it
in.
again. I'll say it again. It's very simple. Two problems we got. The Law Department did not get anything in writing. That is just basic law 101. You're an officer of the court. They dropped the ball, and to spend more money on this would be another waste of taxpayers' money.
Paul, you're a representative. They mentioned implicated maybe some things going on with Somerset and Somerset's representative. But it also came out that none of the representatives of Fall River, you, Carol Fiola, Alan Sylvia, were contacted. I'm not saying that was necessary, but you received no contact to just let you know that this was going on.
Well,
Not to
I
intervene.
can't speak for Representative Sylvia or Representative
for yourself,
Fiola, but I
yeah.
know that for myself, I haven't been brought up to speed. And let me tell you, I think the world of Representative Haddad, but she represents Somerset. I represent Fall River. I'd be happy to go toe-to-toe for her over those bucks for Fall River. Sorry about that, Pat. You know. But if there's any way I can help,
Well,
Let me add
the
it.
whole thing was a matter of, hopefully, it would be split. That's my impression.
Yeah, that's correct.
That if Fall River had enough proposals where it could use the 800,000, Somerset had enough proposals where it could use 800,000. There could have been maybe not a, well, there would have been a split. There's no split as we speak now.
They got it all.
But there could have been a 50-50 split, 55-45 split. Doesn't mean Fall River would have got more or Somerset would have got more. Am I correct, Bob?
Yeah, that's correct. I think they may have been preoccupied determining what color they were going to paint the law office and the
What about,
$9,000 door that they got on the
doors?
law office. That may have been, unfortunately, the focus of the law department because they wanted to have a movie set rather than a law office.
Now, since we're on the 6th floor, across from the law office is the mayor's office. Now, here's what happened. There was $560,000, I believe, and the council approved $560,000 in the loan order. And parts of the loan order, you know, so much for this, so much for that. There were specific items where the money would go. And what happened is that some of the projects were not done for various reasons. And if you watch the last city council meeting, you'll get a full explanation. But they never went back to the city council, and I'm talking about the administration, to ask to transfer some of that money, which eventually ended up doing work in the mayor's office for his bathroom and in the law office for a new door and some painting, etc.
Glass.
Paul, you appropriate money on a regular basis. Bills come before you. You get $2 million to do something, and you're part of the discussion, and maybe even sign whatever you have to. Or whatever. And then
where is this going, Richard?
well, let's put it this way. You find out that the $2 million didn't go for this project A, but the $2 million went for project B. What is that? What do you do in a case like? What do you feel you've been taken, or you feel that something is amiss here, or you should have been told that it wasn't going to go for A, it's going to go now for B? You need to rethink the whole process, this B project?
You know, I haven't followed the parts of the appropriation here, but I got to tell you that I like the way City Hall is looking. I think we're beginning to look like a first-class institution. And so when we have visitors who come here to Fall River and we take them through City Hall, we're beginning to look sharp. And I think that presentation is a big part of the package. So I like the way it looks. Some of my colleagues here next to me may have different views. In fact, I can see that they do.
Well,
Well, what
I don't
happened-
disagree. It looks good.
What happened was this, and let me just add one other thing. City Councilor Ray Mitchell, he asked a lot of poignant questions. he did his job, did his homework. And he then said that the transfer or the use of the money, not for the projects that he had voted for, but for other projects, was a misappropriation of taxpayer money. And he also said that there might be some basis for that money that was spent in the city, in the mayor's office and in the law office, to be refunded from personal funds or from campaign funds. Bob,
Well, you know, it's nice to look professional, but like my mom said when I was younger, you know, if you got clean clothes, they may not be the best clothes, but it'll be clean. Fall River is a city that has one of the lowest per capita incomes in the state, if not the lowest. Last time I checked, it was about 20,000. Family income was about 24. We don't need the Taj Mahal. When you spend $9,000 on a DOA to the law department office, that is obscene in a city of this. There are people in this city who that's more than half their annual income, and they have to go to work every day, and they have to pay for prescriptions, and they have to choose between getting a prescription and eating. They can't find the money to pay their mortgage. And when our mayor puts faux marble and digital screens and $9,000 doors and a $5,000 ceiling in his shower, it is outrageous and is a disservice to the taxpayer.
Dan, misappropriation of funds, or
Well, look,
what's the recourse here,
Look.
if there's any?
well, I don't know what they can do now, except to demand,
You think the
that
trust-
somebody repay the money back. I'll tell you what should happen. They should be looking at every appropriation request that comes down in the future. There should be an ordinance passed that after an appropriation, within 60 or 90 days, that somebody come back to the Committee on Finance and to assure that those funds were appropriated and spent correctly.
Dan, I'm going to give you the last couple of words. We're getting down to the end of the program.
Well, it's great. I mean, it's a wonderful set. It looks good. It makes us look like Boston and Providence. But one of the things they missed altogether is the fact that most of that money was supposed to put handicap bathrooms in on the first floor,
Yeah,
and they didn't
was,
go in.
Yeah, that was a big
And that was
concern.
required by the state. So maybe the state should send somebody down and write us a nice big fat fine and let the mayor pay that.
Well, gentlemen, I'm very appreciative of all of you coming on the show. I know some get excited, but that's good. That shows passion, that shows interest, that shows a great concern about the city, its finances, and I appreciate it. I'm sure you appreciate that out there. Paul, anything, any prediction for this year?
I want to say, first of all, Richard, that as everybody can see, Fall River has a very active democracy.
It sure
And that's
has.
just the way it should be. And thank you for letting me be part of it this afternoon.
We're going to welcome you back.
As so far as predictions go, I quit predicting years ago.
CJ, quickly.
Good luck on this year for you, because it's an election year for you, and I think that we're going to have an exciting year here in Fall River.
Thank you for being here, Rep.
Dan, quickly.
Thank you, Representative. No predictions. Just looking forward to watching the new council.
Can we get, you're going to be running again? You're going to make an announcement?
I'm happy to announce today that I'm a candidate for re-election.
you.
I love my job.
Good for
I'd
you.
like to do it for another 2 years.
Great.
Thank you.
Good. You
Thank
hit
you.
it right here on the
I
Richard
appreciate
Irvin
that.
Show. Thank you for watching out there, and I'll see you next time. And don't forget, we've got the Cook Pond Dinner Dance coming up May 17th. That's at the VFW in Tiverton.
Get your tickets right there.
Tickets are $15. Nice chicken dinner and the works. And the funds go to Friends of Cook Pond. Thanks for watching.